असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ. O Lord, please lead us from ignorance to the knowledge, darkness to the light, from the mortality to the immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. My dear devotees, from previous Sunday, we are trying to understand the life of great lady, the Ireland's inspiration, life of Margaret Noble, that is Sister Nivedita, the dedicated ones. The first part of the Nivedita's life we have started to understand, that is about her childhood and about her adolescent and young age. Sister Nivedita did a human service in India with respect to education of the masses, especially girls education. And she also inspired many youngsters for the freedom movement of India. And she contributed to the Vedanta movement and also to the Indian philosophy by writing many articles, books about India, Indian philosophy, about Hindu philosophy. Such a great lady, iron-willed lady. What was the reason? How she was prepared herself to have that great will? What made her to have such a strong will? And 100 years before, or 120 years before, leaving the Ireland, born and brought up in Ireland and England, coming from the western part of the globe and going to India in the ritualistic orthodoxy mindset of the people, working amongst them and working for their upliftment is not at all easy. It is a matter of great achievement, no doubt. And the Sister Nivedita, the Margaret Noble, did this. How was it? It is very interesting. In my previous class, we did see about her birth, and during her childhood, she lost her father and her mother with great difficulty. She took care of the children, Margaret Noble and her sister and her brother. She finished her schooling, education, and now, with all confidence, with all skills, she has started her own school now. Till here we are discussed. In 1892, with a new great experience, dedication, commitment, with lot of revolutionary ideas with respect to education, she did start her own school in King's Leggett School. She started working independently. And now she is very confident about the required skills to be a teacher, to be an educationist, to be a reformer in education field. And with all that skills and confidence, dedication, enthusiasm, she has started her career. Many of the people we can see, many of the people, they are very good at external life, but at the same time, they'll be hollow or they feel somewhere lacuna inside. Of course, in Nivedita's case, it was not similar. It is not the same. She never had a lacuna, but she felt herself that there's something in her voice is aspiring for something. There's a word in me, in my mind, my mind is aspiring for something. I did my schooling, no doubt. I finished my education in spite of having troubles and challenges. And now I'm emerging as a good educationist, no doubt, with great skills and intelligentsia. But at the same time, my inner mind My inner voice is aspiring for something. So her inner voice was searching for something. That was the time where she met her master, Swami Vivekananda. See, one thing we can clearly understand that if we are right, if we have prepared ourselves, Guru himself comes in search of disciples. Or the things will happen in such a way that the environment will be created in such a way that we will be either we will get gurus or we will go and approach gurus, we'll go and get gurus, or gurus themselves, they will come in search of the disciples. In the life of Margaret Noble, the great lady, the blessed lady, selected by Lord, the Guru came himself in search of his disciple, that is Margaret Noble. She was uncertain, she was feeling insecure about her inner feelings. Though she was born in religious family, both her parents were very religious. They were Protestant Christians, and also father was a religious minister in the church, and also she had her schooling in congregationalist boarding school where she had enough religious education with respect to Christianity. But still, in spite of this, she was feeling some inner void. She wanted something else. And during her schooling at the age of 15, so she was attracted with Tractarian movement. What is this Tractarian movement? Oh, this Tractarian movement is, in the West especially, the movement tried to establish the supremacy of church over the state. And this was caught her imagination. She was impressed by that ideas, but she loved the traditions, she loved the sacraments of the church, I mean of the Christianity, no doubt, but at the same time she didn't like the narrow-mindedness, fanatism in the religious preachers of Christianity. She never accepted it. Rather, she wanted a better and broader philosophy for her mind, for her soul. Her soul was craving for such a sound philosophy. Her soul was craving for such a magnanimous, universal philosophy. And even in her later days, during her schooling, when she joined the Broad Church School, which was run by Church of England, there also she tried to understand Christianity, she tried to read, understand, study, and all, but she was not satisfied and she became a cynicism. So she wanted something else. But in 1895, Lady Isabel Markson, the lady, invited Sister Nivedita, her friend, that there is a great yogi, there's a great monk who has come from India, is the exponent, is a great person of Vedanta. Why don't you come and listen to his teachings? Initially, she was not interested because she didn't have any faith or belief in religious preachers. Initially, she said, probably, can you excuse me? But her friend, Lady Isabel, again and again, she pressed her. No, he's not like any other religious teachers. He's such a great person. Why don't you come and meet once? And if you feel after okay, then you can continue. Otherwise, you can drop. Because of her friend's persistence, again and again she insisted, she came, and in November 1895, on one fine day, one Sunday afternoon, Swami Vivekananda, she came and she met in Swami Vivekananda. And the narration goes of that particular in such a way that it was a beautiful situation where a young monk with a ochre robe, who has realized the spirit, who has realized the God, who has realized the self, the man of self-realization, was sitting in the middle, and a group of 10 to 12 Westerners were sitting in the semicircle, almost in the semicircle, and they were trying to listen and understand the new philosophy, Vedanta philosophy. And what does that Vedanta philosophy say? It is a sin to call the man as a born sinner. Everyone is divine. Everything is divine. So try to understand and try to imagine, try to see the divine principle everywhere. Such a grand idea, universal idea, no doubt, but definitely it was very difficult for Westerners initially to accept, which was against their religion, against their culture. So some of them they felt after the talk, Swami spoke very nicely, no doubt, but it is hard to believe, or even it is hard to accept. Bye bye. Saying that many of them they left, but Sister Nivedita felt whether we like it or not, it is not courteous to say on face like this. Probably with a open mind, without any prejudice, we should try to understand if we feel okay or if you feel satisfied, if you feel good about it, you can continue. Otherwise, you may discontinue. Such was the stand was taken by Sister Nivedita, and the same was expressed by Sister Nivedita to her friend Isabella. She herself, in one of the 1902, when in one of his lecture, she tells about herself like this. When she met Swami Vivekananda, before meeting Swami Vivekananda, how was she and what was her mindset? I was born and bred an Englishwoman, and up to the age of 18, I was trained and educated as English girls are. Christian religious doctrines were, of course, early instilled into me. Even from my girlhood, I was inclined to venerate all religion's teachings, and I devotedly worshipped the child Jesus, loved him with my whole heart for the self sacrifices he always willingly underwent, and felt I could not worship him enough for his crucifying himself to bestow salvation on the human race. But after the age of 18, I began to harbor doubts as to the truth of the Christian doctrines. Many of them began to seem to me false and incompatible with truth. These doubts grew stronger and stronger, and at the same time, my faith in Christianity tottered more and more. For 7 years, I was in this wavering state of mind, very unhappy and yet very, very eager to seek the truth. I shunned going to church, and yet sometimes my longing to bring restfulness to my spirit impelled me to rush into church and be absorbed in the service in order to feel at peace within, as I had hitherto done, and as others around me were doing. But alas, no peace, no rest was there for my troubled soul, all eager to know the truth. You see, for 7 years she prepared herself, or there was continuous wavering, there was continuous fight was going on inside in Margaret Noble's mind. At the seventh year, he met a great guru, Swami Vivekananda, the master. She continues, during the 7 years of wavering, it had occurred to me that in the study of natural science, I should surely find the truth I was seeking. So I began ardently to study how this world was created and all things in it, and I discovered that in the laws of nature, at least there was consistency, but it made the doctrines of the Christian religion seem all the more inconsistent. Just then, I happened to get a life of Buddha, and in it I found that here also was a child who lived ever so many centuries before the child Christ, but whose sacrifices were no less self abnegating than those of the other. This dear child Gautama took a strong hold on me, and for the next 3 years, I plunged into the study of the religion of Buddha and became more and more convinced that the salvation he preached was decidedly more consistent with the truth than the preachings of the Christian religion. And now came the turning point of my faith. The Swami I met was no other than Swami Vivekananda, who afterwards became my guru and whose teachings have given the relief that my doubting spirit had been longing for so long. So, at the age of 18, she started doubting the Christian theology, Christian beliefs very strongly. It was oscillated for 3 4 years. Then she came across Buddhism. She started studying Buddhism. In Buddhism, initially, she felt some console and she started studying Buddhism when she met her master, that is Swami Vivekananda. And when she started hearing the Vedanta, Then she felt that, yes, here is the philosophy, the universal philosophy which I can take, which my mind was seeking for, which my mind was searching for from 7 years. And in the Sister Nivedita, she beautifully narrates the first meeting of Swami Vivekananda. He was a man of realization. It was not just by mere books, he was giving his sermon, rather by faith, by his experience. From his experience, he was talking. And what was the subject of his talk? For a few hours, probably, they had a discussion, they had a talk. Swami Vivekananda spoke to this selected audience of 10 to 12 people. Sister Nivedita sir says that, oh, he started about God. Who is God? What is God? And afterwards, how to reach God, he started describing about three paths. That is Karma Yoga, the path of selfless action; Bhakti Yoga, the path of divine love, the path of devotion; and the Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. So by these three paths, we can reach God. By any one or two or all of this, we can reach God. Afterwards, he took a philosophical approach. He started discussing about pantheism, monotheism, and monism. And he also tried to explain what is Hinduism in nutshell, what is Buddhism in nutshell, and what is Christianity in nutshell. So after that, the program or the lecture was end or the discussions were end, then we left for our respective homes. So this was her first impression. In her first impression, she didn't, though she was fascinated towards Swami Vivekananda, it is not that she accepted him as just as a teacher. Here is a new philosophy. Fine. It is something interesting. Let me see. Let me try to understand more and more. Let me know more and more. Then let me try to follow him. Follow him or his philosophy, if it suits me. That was her stand at the beginning. Slowly, when she started listening Swami Vivekananda's sermon or Swami Vivekananda's lectures on Vedanta, Vedantic philosophy, divinity of human being, or divinity of divine aspects of everything, then slowly she started getting attracted towards it, and she felt that, yes, this is the philosophy for which my mind was searching for 7 years. And she also says that the great statement given by Lord Shri Krishna in his Bhagavad Gita, that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyam. That is, whenever the religion is declining, and whenever to protect the people, whenever we have to protect the good people, and whenever we have to punish the wicked people, I take birth again and again. Whenever dharma declines, I shall take again and again to protect the dharma, to save the dharma. What a great statement. What a magnanimous statement. And it has been assured by God himself that I will take a birth. And this was one of the statements initially Nivedita's mind was attracted. And also, she felt, after hearing second or third lecture of Swami Vivekananda, she was attracted or she was fascinated by hearing Swami Vivekananda's views on God. What is that? According to probably the Semitic religions, whatever they say, God is so and such a thing about either from point of their religion, that's only true. But Swami Vivekananda was explaining the God as both personal and as well as impersonal. In reality, God is impersonal, no doubt. It doesn't have any form. It doesn't have any qualities like which we attribute generally. Is impersonal, nirvikara, no doubt. But when we see from our mind, we need name and form, because to think anything for the mind, it needs name and form. So we have given some names to God, and we have given some form to the God so that it is easy for us to approach the God at the beginning of our spiritual practice. And there's the need of forms, symbols, images, all these things. He gives a beautiful rationale behind it. And when she heard God can be both personal and as well as impersonal, and why there is a need of personal God, etc., by Swami Vivekananda, she was fascinated by this such a beautiful ideas by Swami Vivekananda. And also, because she was born and brought up in the very religious and traditional Christian family. Till then, her idea about religion was do's and don'ts. You should do this, you should not do this. You should be like this, you should not be like this. Why you should be moral? Because otherwise God will punish you. Why I should be moral? Otherwise God will punish me, and after my death, I'll be sent to hell. If you want heaven, you should be moral, you should be good, you should be rightful. Such type of fearful religion probably she had understood or she had heard from the elders of the family or from the religious preachers. But whereas when Swami Vivekananda defined that religion, what is religion? In just one word, religion is realization. Sakshatkara in Sanskrit or Hindi, when we say. Religion means realization of oneself, understanding that I am divine, understanding that I am consciousness, understanding that I am awareness, and I am the subject which no weapon can destroy me, no fire can burn me, no air can dry me, no water can wet me, nothing can perish me. I am imperishable. And that is called Brahman or Atman. That is my real nature. And to understand that, we need a path, and that is what religion provides. So religion is a path for realization of oneself or realization of God. And it is not a matter, it is a path that is alpha and omega of the life because of God himself. When Nivedita again heard such magnanimous statements from Swami Vivekananda, who himself was a realized person, it created a understand the religion free from any bias. Or instead of having an institutionalized religion, organized religion from that point of view, she was not interested. Now, Swami Vivekananda's ideas have created a great impact on Margaret Noble's mind, and slowly she was getting attracted towards Swami Vivekananda and Swami Vivekananda's philosophy. 2 more lectures, but after every lecture, the others used to say, she accepts, but why? It is okay, but why? I mean, after hearing the lecture, she used to appreciate, no doubt, but she was not a woman, simple woman. Whatever the master says, whatever the Swami Vivekananda says, everything is right and everything has to be accepted. No. She used to, because she was a voracious reader, she had read Occidental philosophy well, and she had read Buddhism also well. She had a lot of doubts and questions. She used to Swami Vivekananda with happiness, with all happiness and with eagerness. He used to address her questions. He used to answer her questions. And after some time, she started accepting and she started addressing Swami Vivekananda as his guru or as the master. The time came, like in 1895, when Swami Vivekananda left for America again, she starts telling that. However, before the Swami left England to America, the Margaret started addressing him as master. I had recognized the heroic fiber of the man and desired to make myself the servant of his love for his own people. But it was his character to which I had thus done obeisance. As a religious teacher, I saw that although he had a system of thought to offer, nothing in that system would claim him for a moment if he found that truth led elsewhere. And to the extent that this recognition implies, I became his disciple. For the rest, I studied his teaching sufficiently to become convinced of its coherence, but never, till I had the experiences that authenticated them, did I inwardly cast in my lot with the final justification of the things he came to say. Nor did I at that time, though deeply attracted by his personality, dream of the immense distance which I was afterwards to see as between his development and that of any other thinker or man of genius whom I could name. So, Sister Nivedita, that is Margaret Noble, was attracted towards Swami Vivekananda's spiritual personality. She started accepting him as his teacher, guru, or as a master. And it is not that easy because she was an iron will lady and she was very thinking lady and she was very sharp with a very sharp intellect and with a wide range of study. Accepting Swami Vivekananda as her guru, as master, it was not that easy, definitely. If she had accepted, imagine how much impression or what impact was created by Swami Vivekananda on Margaret Noble's mind, we can visit. In April 15 or 1896, Swami Vivekananda left New York and again he returned to London. This time again, Nivedita, she became more close with Swami Vivekananda, his master, and she started feeling that I should serve my master. And when she asked, how can I serve you? Definitely, Swami Vivekananda, initially though he didn't say that, but he did hint that you are a great iron-willed lady and you were a great woman of lot of potentialities and lot of skills, no doubt. You can be one of the best women who can take care of the Indian women's education. Unfortunately, India gave rise to, in the olden days, India gave rise to great intellectual women, no doubt. Rishi Patnis we had. But unfortunately, in the present day, we are having very less people, such people, such great women we are less having. So probably I need like you, where you can take care of the Indian women's education or girls' education. When Nivedita heard this from Swami Vivekananda's mouth, from his master's mouth, she started deciding, or she decided herself to dedicate herself for the betterment of the Indian society or to serve the Indian girls with respect in education field. And Sister Nivedita beautifully did. She gives a description about Swami Vivekananda. To one, the very conception of a religion which preached universal tolerance, which held that we proceed from truth to truth and not from error to truth, was enough. To another, deeply versed in our modern literature and especially in poetry, with its ever recurring flashes of supreme intuition, it was the Swami's I am God that came as something always known, only never said before. Others there were who have been vaguely troubled by the anthropomorphism of our Christian doctrine of the fatherhood of God, and this found in Bhakti Yoga that such a conception was not final, but only one of the series passing by degrees into that sense of divine union. Yet again, it was the unity of man that was the touch needed to rationalize all the previous experiences and give logical sanction to the thirst for absolute service never boldly avowed in the past. Some by one gate and some by another. We have all entered into a great heritage and we know it. This was the Nivedita's experience and Nivedita's impression on Swami Vivekananda and Swami Vivekananda's philosophy. And she wrote, when Swami Vivekananda was in, I think, USA, she wrote that her idea that I will be happy to serve you by serving the motherland, India. There's a letter given by Swami Vivekananda to Margaret Noble. So there's a very interesting letter. Let me read out for you. Dear Miss Noble, this particular statement is often quoted, Swami Vivekananda's statement, and it is the part of the Nivedita's letter written by Swami Vivekananda. My ideal indeed can be put into a few words, and that is to preach unto mankind the divinity and how to make it manifest in every moment of life. This world is in chains of superstitions. I pity the oppressed, whether man or woman, and I pity more the oppressors. One idea that I see clear as daylight is that misery is caused by ignorance and nothing else. Who will give the world light? Sacrifice in the past has been the law. It will be, alas, for ages to come. The earth's bravest and best will have to sacrifice themselves for the good of many, for the welfare of all. Buddhas by the hundred are necessary with eternal love and pity. Religions of the world have become lifeless mockeries. What the world wants is character. The world is in need of those whose life is one burning love selfless. That love will make every word tell like thunderbolt. It is no superstition with you. I am sure you have the making in you of a world mover, and others will also come. Bold words and bolder deeds are what we want. Awake, 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 great one. The world is burning with misery. Can you sleep? Let us call and call till the sleeping gods awake, till the God within answers to the call. What more is in life? What greater work? The details come to me as I go. I never make plans. Plans grow and work themselves. I only say, awake, awake, awake. May all blessings attend you forever. Yours affectionately, Vivekananda. You see, what a beautiful letter written by Swami Vivekananda to his chosen disciple, that is Margaret Noble. So, indirectly or directly, he's hinting that to do any great work, we need sacrifice. Buddha sacrificed himself for the betterment of the humankind. Jesus Christ, he sacrificed himself for the betterment of the humankind. So, all the great peoples who have changed the world, who has moved the world, they have sacrificed themselves for the betterment of the society, world, or the humankind. So we need such type of people more and more. So he's hinting that you also prepare yourself to sacrifice for the betterment of the society. And she writes a beautiful letter to her friend. The gist of the letter goes like this. Suppose he had not come to London during my youth time, life would have been like a headless torso, for I always knew what I was waiting for something. I always said that a call would come, and it did. But if I had no more of life, I should perhaps have doubted whether, when the time came, I should certainly recognize it. Fortunately, I knew little and was spared the torture. Now, I look at the book and say, if he had not come, that is, Swami Vivekananda had not come, for always I had this burning voice within, but nothing to utter. How often and often I have sat down, pen in hand, to speak, and there was no speech. And now there is no end to it. As surely as I am fitted for my world, so surely is my world in need of me, waiting ready. So her mind was waiting for a right person in her life. And when she met Swami Vivekananda, when she heard the gospel of Vedanta from men of realization, that is Swami Vivekananda, she felt that yes, for this I was searching, and here is the man, and by accepting him and his teaching, definitely my life is taken care. And that is very clearly reflected by her own letter. So many times, many people say, oh, Sister Nivedita was a great lady. She was a blessed lady because she got Swami Vivekananda as a guru. And probably even if we also get like Swami Vivekananda as a guru, then definitely our life also can be blessed. We all feel this. We also think, no doubt, but how much struggle Nivedita underwent in her life, we don't understand, we don't imagine, or we don't study, or we don't think. So for 7 years, she underwent that spiritual struggles. At the 7th year, she met Swami Vivekananda so that her mind was ready to receive the gospel of Vedanta. And if the similar way, if I and you, we are ready, definitely we do get a guru, master like Swami Vivekananda, where our lives are blessed. So we have to prepare ourselves. We have to prepare our body and mind, especially mind, to receive the gospel of Vedanta, to receive the gospel of sublime thoughts, a gospel of great ideas. So have we ready? Are we ready? It is very, very important. And afterwards, Swami Abhedananji comes to London, and Swami Abhedananji continues the work of Vedanta, and Sister Nivedita, as a hardcore Vedantin, now she starts supporting Swami Abhedananji. in his Vedantic work. During this time, when Swami Vivekananda left for India, she writes a letter that she is thinking seriously that she will be happy, she'll feel blessed that to come to India to serve him and to serve the Indian cause. Swami Vivekananda sends a letter. Yes, I'm very happy to receive your letter, but again, probably at this juncture, it is better for you to support and serve Swami Abhedananda in Vedantic movement, to spread the Vedantic movement in London. And initially it was a great shock for Sister Nivedita, because again her gurus, her masters, order. So though willfully she didn't accept it, but because her master said, she accepted and she started helping Swami Abhedananda in the Vedantic movement. After some time again, Swami Abhedanandaji left for USA and here no one were there. And Sister Nivedita and 2 or 3 people, they started organizing some study groups, and there they used to discuss Vedanta and about Sanatana Dharma, and probably they used to get some Brahmavadin magazine, and whatever their ideas about Vedanta was there, they used to read and they used to discuss and they used to know each other about Vedanta. But then slowly, because Goodwin and some of them, since they had accompanied Swami Vivekananda, her mind, from the bottom of her heart, her mind was thinking again and again that I should go to India and I should serve my master and his cause, noble cause. And again, she writes a letter to Swami Vivekananda that I'll be happy or I'm eager to come and serve India and your noble cause. Swami Vivekananda says that. And Swami Vivekananda replies for it, yes, I will be more happy to receive such you people, like with the iron-willed man with lot of potentialities and skills, no doubt. But at the same time, there are challenges for you. So are you ready for those challenges? Please, you think. So what was the challenge? First and foremost is physical atmosphere. And he tells that here, the peak winter is your summer. The North Indian peak winter is the summer in the Ireland or England. So there will be a scorching sun, deadly heat in the summer. So will you be able to bear? One thing. Second thing, probably about the food. And the third thing is, in India, again, they have got their own fanatic outlook with many people. They have got their only narrow-minded outlook with many people. So you may have to work among them. You may have to work among them for their upliftment. So can you accept all these shortcomings? If you love my India with all these shortcomings, definitely you are welcome. And better you try to understand India, study India, and try to be an Indian, and you will be able to serve the India in a better way. So slowly, by few letters to Sister Nivedita, Swami Vivekananda trained Sister Nivedita to become the fit equipment, instrument for the noble cause. So that's why it is very difficult to understand this great people's work or the great people's decisions. Sometimes when they say you do or you don't do it, immediately at that juncture, as a disciple, with a narrow-mindedness or with a limited understanding for us, we feel that, oh, I want to do better, but my guru is not allowing. My teacher is not allowing. But the teacher will be having a first-hand experience, and he will have a better experience that he knows that I am not yet ready for that to serve the better cause or to serve the noble cause. So Swami Vivekananda gave enough time for Nivedita or for Margaret Noble to prepare herself, to prepare her mind, to prepare her emotions, to prepare her thinking. So after so many correspondence, slowly, she started thinking that now this is the time for me to go to India and to serve the motherland. And his own brother, Richmond, her own brother, Richmond, he gives a beautiful a narration. I still remember the day she first left for India. She was journeying on the British India line. We had gone to see her off at the Tilbury dock. My other sister and mother were there, and there were two more friends, Cook and Octavius. Mother and sister started crying. All of them bade her farewell and Godspeed. So, this was the narration given by her Margaret Noble's brother Richmond. But after going also, it was not that a cakewalk for Sister Nivedita Margaret Noble. She had to face a lot of struggles, a lot of troubles, a lot of problems she had to face. But since Swami Vivekananda was there and his blessings was there, his guidance was there, it worked as a protective layer for Sister Nivedita, for Margaret Noble, and from the Guru's blessing, from her Guru's blessing, she was able to cross over all other problems. Probably in my next talk, let me take the second part. So till her childhood and meeting Swami Vivekananda, his master, her master, and preparing herself, we have seen. Now the second part is going to India and started serving her master's noble cause. That is educating the girls. That was a major work was given by her master for Sister Nivedita. That's the second part which we can see very clearly in her life. Let us try to discuss or try to understand in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.